My 10-year-old daughter stopped telling me things. She'd come home from school, and when I'd ask about her day, I'd get one-word answers. She stopped sharing her feelings, her struggles, her excitement. I could feel her pulling away emotionally, and I was terrified of losing her. Then a family therapist watched how I responded to my daughter for just 20 minutes and said, "You're making one consistent mistake that's teaching her to hide from you instead of open up to you." And here's the devastating part. You're doing it because you love her and want to help her. I had no idea that my most well-intentioned responses were the very things pushing her away. Once the therapist explained what I was doing wrong and taught me what to do instead, my daughter started opening up again within days. The walls came down, the connection came back, and our relationship transformed. If you feel like your child is closing off to you and you want them to trust you with their real thoughts and feelings, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this mistake is so common and so fixable once you understand what's actually happening. Let me tell you exactly what I was doing wrong, and I need you to really hear this because you're probably doing it too without realizing the impact. The mistake is immediately jumping into fix-it mode or teaching mode the moment your child shares something with you. They tell you about a problem and you immediately offer solutions. They share a feeling and you immediately try to make it better or explain why they shouldn't feel that way. They tell you about a conflict with a friend, and you immediately give advice or tell them what they should have done differently. Here's what was happening with my daughter. She'd tell me she was anxious about a test, and I'd immediately say, "You'll do fine. You always do well, just study and you'll be okay." She'd tell me a friend said something mean, and I'd jump in with, "Well, what did you do? Maybe she didn't mean it that way, here's what you should do." She'd express frustration about something, and I'd rush to solve it or minimize it. Every single time, my response communicated that I didn't want to sit with her uncomfortable feelings, that I needed to fix it or teach her instead of just hearing her. And here's the heartbreaking part. When children share something vulnerable, the parent immediately fixes, teaches, or minimizes. The child learns that their feelings aren't acceptable as they are. That coming to a parent means getting a lecture or being told what to do, and that it's not safe to just be heard and understood. Over time, they stop sharing. Not because they don't want connection, but because the cost of sharing, getting advice they didn't ask for, or having feelings dismissed is too high. They close off to protect themselves from that experience. The research on this is detailed. Children who feel truly heard and validated by their parents develop better emotional regulation, higher self-esteem, more resilience, and stronger parent-child relationships. But children whose emotions are consistently dismissed, minimized, or met with immediate fixing develop emotional suppression, anxiety, and distance from parents. They learn to handle things alone because sharing doesn't result in feeling understood. It results in feeling managed. If you want to build a relationship where your kids actually open up to you, subscribe and turn on notifications, because we share strategies that create real connection, not just compliance. Here's what I learned to do instead, and this completely changed everything. When my daughter shares something with me now, my first and only job is to listen and validate. That's it. No fixing, no teaching, no minimizing, just presence and understanding. She tells me she's anxious about a test, and instead of reassuring her or giving study tips, I say, "That sounds really stressful. Tell me more about what's worrying you." She tells me a friend was mean, and instead of jumping to solutions, I say, "That must have hurt your feelings. What was that like for you?" This approach is called empathic listening, and it's the foundation of emotional safety. When children feel heard without judgment, advice, or correction, they feel safe continuing to share. When they feel understood, they naturally start to process and work through their feelings. Your job isn't to make the feeling go away or solve the problem. Your job is to be a safe, accepting witness to their experience. That's what creates connection and trust. I know what you're thinking, because I thought it too. But don't I need to help them? Don't I need to teach them how to handle things? Yes, eventually, but not in the moment they're opening up to you. In that moment, they need to feel heard and understood. Once they feel that, once they've shared and been validated, then you can ask, "Do you want my thoughts on this, or did you just need to talk?" Most of the time, they just needed to be heard. Sometimes they'll ask for advice, and then you can offer it. But leading with advice before connection teaches them to close off. The transformation in my relationship with my daughter has been profound. She tells me things again, real things. Hard things, things she's embarrassed about, scared of, or confused by. She comes to me when she's struggling instead of hiding it. And you know what's interesting? She's actually solving more of her own problems now because when she's heard and validated, she processes things and comes to her own solutions. When I was jumping in to fix everything, she was dependent on me. Now that I just listen, she's developing her own problem-solving skills. Comment below and be honest, do you jump into fix-it mode when your kids share with you? There's no judgment, just awareness. Let me give you specific language for how to do this, because knowing what not to do isn't enough. You need to know what to do instead. When your child shares something, your response template is to validate the feeling, show curiosity, and hold space. It sounds like this. That sounds really frustrating. Tell me more. Or I can see why you'd feel that way. What's going through your mind? Or that must be really hard. I'm here, I'm listening. Notice what these responses don't include. They don't include but, they don't include advice. They don't include at least or it could be worse. They don't include here's what you should do. They're purely focused on understanding and accepting what your child is experiencing. This creates safety, and safety is what allows children to continue opening up. Here's what happens over time when you consistently respond this way. Your child learns that you're a safe place to bring their real feelings, not just their successes and happy moments. They develop trust that you won't judge, lecture, or try to change how they feel. They start coming to you earlier with problems because they know you'll listen instead of taking over. They develop emotional intelligence because they're processing their feelings out loud with a supportive witness instead of stuffing them down or handling them alone. But there's another layer to this that's equally important. You need to manage your own anxiety about your child's discomfort. When your child is upset, anxious, or struggling, you feel uncomfortable. Your instinct is to make it stop for them and for you. But when you rush to fix it, you're actually managing your own discomfort, not helping your child. Learning to sit with their uncomfortable feelings without rushing to make them go away is one of the most important skills you can develop as a parent. I had to work on this myself. When my daughter would share something hard, I'd feel anxiety rising in me. I want to fix this, make it better, protect her from this feeling. But I learned to notice that anxiety, take a breath, and remind myself that my job is to be present, not to rescue her from normal human emotions. Feeling sad, anxious, and frustrated are part of life. My job is to help her learn she can feel these things and be okay, not to prevent her from ever feeling them. Here's a practice that helped me make this shift. After my daughter shares something and I've listened and validated, I pause before saying anything else. In that pause, I ask myself, does she need my advice right now, or does she need my presence? 9 times out of 10, the answer is presence. That pause has saved me from countless fix-it lectures that would have shut her down. I also want to address what to do if your child has already started closing off. If you're reading this and realizing you've been making this mistake for years and your child doesn't share with you anymore, it's not too late. Start today. The next time they share anything, even something small, practice empathic listening. Don't expect immediate results. It takes time to rebuild trust. But stay consistent. Every time you listen without fixing or teaching, you're sending a new message that it's safe to open up to you. If this video helped you understand why your child might be closing off and what to do about it, please share it with another parent. This is one of the most common and heartbreaking patterns in parent-child relationships, and it's completely fixable with awareness and practice. Drop a comment and tell me, are you going to try empathic listening? What's your biggest challenge with just listening without fixing? And make sure you're subscribed because we're building a community of parents who focus on connection and relationship, not just managing behavior and solving problems. Thank you for being here and for caring about keeping the lines of communication open with your child. That open, trusting relationship is one of the most valuable things you can build. And it starts with learning to listen without fixing.